Hey everyone, it's Pastor Dave from St. John in Woodbury, Minnesota. Thanks for checking out today's 5 minutes of hope. If you are up here in the bold north of Minnesota, then you know if you look outside your window that it is snowy, it is cold, and it looks like we're in the middle of winter. So we got a record amount of snow just a couple of days ago, and again, a little bit more precipitation. It's cold, it's windy. Again, not very pleasant out there. But again, if you are up here and you're watching this, I hope that you're staying warm and safe, especially during these times. And if you're not around here, if you're somewhere else where maybe the weather is a little bit nicer, I pray that you're enjoying that weather and taking advantage of it while you still can. So, no matter what the situation, as we say each time, my biggest prayer for you is that you are indeed filled with peace and joy and hope because you know exactly what Jesus has done for you. So, as always, with our video devotion, we have our joke of the day about a dog and a cat, and then also some devotional thoughts on endurance, especially during challenging times. So, first, our joke of the day. There's a guy comes home and he finds his dog belly up. He's laying on his back. His four legs are sticking straight up in the air, and he can't tell if the dog is alive or dead. And so he ends up taking the dog, putting him in his car, and taking him into the vet. And goes in the vet and says, "Well, I don't know if the dog is still alive or not." And the vet looks at him and examines him and says, "Well, there's one surefire way to tell if this dog is still alive or if he's dead." And so he goes to another room, grabs a cat, brings it in and starts rubbing the cat across the dog's face. And after a couple minutes, when the dog still doesn't respond, the vet says, "I'm sorry to tell you, but your dog is dead." And the owner was very upset and very, sorrowful naturally. And he says, "Well, how much do I owe you?" And the vet says, "Well, it's $550." And the guy is furious. He's like, "How in the world does this cost $550?" And the vet says, "Well, it's pretty simple. It was $50 for the visit, but it was $500 for the CAT scan." Dad joke. Oh, there you go. CAT scan. Use that one as you see fit. I thought that was a good one. So there you go. As we get closer to the week, hopefully that lightened up your day a little bit. So our devotional thoughts for today, like I said, are connected to the idea of endurance. In fact, I want to read to us. This is from the beginning of Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 through 2. He says, the author of Hebrews writes, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. And let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God." And then listen to what it says. Again, the author writes, in light of all this, again, as we live our lives and face our oppositions, he adds this again in light of what Jesus did for us. He says, "Consider him who endures such opposition from sinners, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart." I think right now, again, I think we're in like month 7. It's been just a crazy year. Cases are starting to spike again. People are talking about the long winter coming up. Up here in Minnesota, like I said, we got hit with it. For me, kind of a tough news because my boys were supposed to have end of the season tournaments. I felt good about our chances. All that got canceled. The season now is just kind of over. And so you have these things where, again, between the cases and it's getting colder, we can't get outside as much. Again, things are getting canceled. Where a lot of maybe that weariness, that sorrow, just maybe that fatigue that we felt, especially early on in the shutdowns and the quarantines. You had the fact that we're now about a week and a half away from a very contentious election. And this might be a time where you might be finding yourself thinking that you're losing heart, you're growing weary just with life and with all the obstacles. And so, again, as we look at the book of Hebrews, right before this, the author of Hebrews lays out kind of the hall of fame of faith, where he lays out all these heroes of the faith and how they stayed faithful throughout their lives. And he encouraged us to do the same, that even when we're going through very challenging times, physically draining, emotionally draining, relational draining, spiritually draining times, that we're called to continue to run the race of life, the race of faith with endurance, not by our own strength, not by our own abilities, but leaning upon Christ, leaning upon Him, and using Him not only for our strength, but also an example that we would continue to run our race of faith, that we would have the energy that we need to continue on with life based upon Him. And so that's my prayer for you. If you find yourself, again, here at the end of October, maybe just kind of worn out from life, worn out from everything that's gone this year, just kind of feeling like it's hard to keep going, that you would look to Christ, find joy and peace in Him, and find the strength that you need to continue to run your race of faith, your race of life with endurance. Again, looking to Him and trusting in Him to guide you and bless you. So, again, God bless you. Take care and keep running your race with endurance.